So I'm just starting the recording. Okay, so yeah, thanks for the reminder, Dennis. So we've got that set up. So start the usual points. Just in case a few of you, this is the first session you've attended, I just want to get the link for the training. So all BPs and clients on support can get all the videos, no charge at all. It's one of the benefits of being on a support contract. So on this link I've just put in the chat, you'll be able to access all the videos to date. I know a couple of them aren't included, but this will be the fourth one on there. So I think the modules on there at the moment will be GL, accounts receivable, and manufacturing, and then it'll be this one. I always advise clients and VPs, especially with new features. I know I did show you this last week, but I don't think everyone was here. Yeah, Raymond, I'm recording. Dennis did remind me. Otherwise, I would have forgot. So we do have this YouTube channel now, which we're starting to populate. So basically on new features, new upcoming features, things that are still in testing, so you can just get an idea of what's coming. I mean, if you're showing the software to new clients, you can revert them to here as well. Some nice features in here. This is our latest one, document adjustment tracking. So there's reports for every document that's adjusted. There's reports telling you what user adjusted it, when it was adjusted, what was changed, what was added, what was deleted, etc., etc. So I'm quite excited about that feature myself. So I'd definitely recommend giving this video a good watch. So I've just put that into the chat section as well, the link for the YouTube channel. Anyway, let's get started. So today's training is on POS, SMSs, and projects. So I'm going to start off with the POS, then go to projects, and then we'll conclude with the SMSs. Based on experience, I think the training will probably take about an hour, maybe a little bit less. So let's dive into it. So the POS module here, if you can't see it on your screen, it'll be because of this setting in the control panel. So if you go to control panel, and POS is because this is unticked. So mine is grayed out at the moment because I've already got a drawer assigned. So let's come in here and let's cache it out. I'll go through all these screens we see here now. I just want to make it clear. Come back down here. And you see, so now it's all illuminated. I could untick this and then the POS won't be available to users. So I'm going to tick that. So there's various options on here, some general options, POS processing options, the ability to apply discounts, allow refunds, allow voids. So that means if you're halfway through a transaction, the customer, or for whatever reason, is no longer going ahead with it, you can just cancel the whole transaction. So if this is unticked, it means you have to go and do the payment. You can't cancel the transaction, you might be halfway through. So usually this is ticked. POS payment options, allow credit card, etc. We've got some general ones here, so enable user-defined fields. So that's to do with your customers, which we did cover in accounts receivable. So if you watch that training, you'll know what that's in relation to. Enable upsell. So that's the upsell feature which was covered in the inventory module. So you can carry across that functionality across to here. Just to quickly let you know what I'm referring to, maybe you've forgotten or you weren't at the training. So I'll just go to inventory and related items. So you can link items together. So at time of sale, let's just do a very quick example. You'll see I can tick point of sale. So when we purchase, when we sell this master item, the primary item, it'll come up with a pop-up and say, do you also want to include this item? I'm not going to save that, I'm just going to cancel that for now, but that's where that comes from. Other things here, see POS price change options, so you can have the option no changes allowed, or you can have a system administrator who has to come to the till and they have to put in their password so it allows the user to change the password. Or you can use the POS price list. So the price list, again, is covered in the inventory module where you can set up multiple price lists. Usually clients will set one called POS, and that's what the till will be linked to. The point of sale will be linked to. Customer processing. So this means that at the moment it's on cash sales only. So it's linked to a particular customer, but this is a cash account that we set up. You can do customer account, and usually we have it to mix mode, so you can do it to account and cash sales. So I'm going to put that setting on. Cash drops is something that we'll go through, so you can set warning messages if it gets to a certain level. Reference fields. So there's a reference field on the POS. At the moment it's not a mandatory field, it's actually disabled. Again, as we did in accounts payable, accounts receivable, you can make it mandatory. So that means if we leave the reference field blank, it won't allow us to record the transaction. Good morning, Michael. Blank credit note reasons again. So if we're doing a credit note with this setting, it means that it can have a blank reason. You have no reason assigned to it. And block won't allow you to record the transaction. Again, this is covered quite a lot in the accounts receivable training. You'll find the credit note reasons over here. And you just set them up, whatever reason it might be, damaged, etc., etc. And then timeout process in the credit note, you'll be able to assign a credit note reason, and then there's reports for that. So if you want to see more about that, have a look at the accounts receivable training. So to go to POS, first thing you have to do is set up a till. So whilst I was doing the preparation, I've got one set up here already, but let's create a new one. And so most clients I see just normally call it till 1, till 2, whatever it may be. And the available tender types, we're going to make them all available. And receipts accounts. So the payments, we're going to say go straight into this account. Cash over. So this is, if we've got cash over or short, this is where it's going to write to. And petty cash. And you can link these to profit centers and departments, which is covered in the GL module. I know we have a lot of repeat people attending the training, so I'm not going to go into too much depth in these things. So you'll find more information on these in the GL module training. And that's our till. So then the next stage would be assigning a user. Have you got a question here? All right, Tando.
Why do we need to create two bank accounts, one a banking account and the other one a petty cash?
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear the question.
I mean, why do we need two cash accounts for this purpose?
Where are you referring to?
If we go back to the setup,
yeah.
Yes, we have the receipt account. The receipt account is a bank account, and we have another opening cash account, which is petty cash. What is the purpose of these two?
Okay, so when we invoice, the other one will directly go into there, but the opening cash account, so if you're not invoicing, you might put 200 Rand into your till as your balance, just so you have change in there. So it's not coming out of your bank, you're just putting money into the till, and that's where that's pulling from. So it's just loose cash.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Okay, I'll show you where that comes into play as well. Thanks for the question, Tunde. Okay, so now we're going to allocate a user. So we just go and assign the draw. So both of them are available at the moment. Click assign, and till 1, and then a user. So this is the only, so you can assign any user to it. Thanks, Michael, yeah. Day-to-day flow management. You always have the perfect terms, Michael. So I've got user, so I've only got one user on my company. So it's just myself, so I'm going to allocate myself to this, and we'll do session date 1st of March, and the open cash, and put that in as 300. So now we've assigned it, and we have our cash balance of 300 Rand, and we have no sales at this point. So then you can come into this icon here, hit sales, and we get this message here. Please can you confirm the opening cash balance and session date are correct to proceed? If any items are not correct, please cancel and contact your manager. So at this point, it's up to the POS user to just check that that is exactly what they have sitting in their drawer. And then at this point, so they're dealing with the customer, and you get to choose if it's on account or cash. So I'm going to select the cash option, and then we can start processing. So this is barcode. It can be used with barcoding as well, but for the training, I don't have a barcode set up, so I'm just going to be typing in the items manually. So select a couple of items. We can change the quantity, so let's put 5 in here. Select enter. And price, let's say it's 85. So because of that setting I put in the control panel, I have the authorization to just put in any price I may wish. Yeah, let's do the second item here as well. Let's put a quantity in there. Sorry, I keep clicking too quickly. Yeah, quantity of 4. And price and so on. So you also have the salesperson here as well. Can a JPG of the item be displayed at this point? So you mean actually physically see it on this screen? It might show up here. It doesn't look like there's a place for that actually. I can check the settings in the control panel after I process this transaction, just see if there's a tab there to allow it or enable it, but I don't believe so. So here you can link the salesperson, more for barcode tampering. Let me see if I'm getting all the messages here. Can a JPG? I see what you mean, Michael. Yeah, it's a good point. I'll have to just double check the settings in the control panel, but I don't believe so. Yeah, so you can link a salesperson. So it's my sample company. I don't have any salespeople set up. But again, we have our reference field, which I didn't make mandatory, but we can just populate that. And there's not too much to it down here. So I'm doing an invoice. We also have the ability of doing a quotation on the POS, and then you can later convert it. So I can go through that process also. And also at this point, if the customer decides to not go ahead with this transaction, we have this avoid sale, so I'll just cancel it completely. Whereas before, that was because I enabled this option in the control panel. It's quite a common query you get in support actually. People say, why is it grayed out? And it always goes back to the company options. So then down here, so we're going to do a cash payment, so amount tendered, and we can put in the value here. So if I put in 600, what's quite nice, if I put in 620 here, and then go down to the next field, it automatically populates the next field of what's remaining. And then we click OK. And at this point, it's sending the message to the printer, and it's printing out the receipt itself. So we've done our first payment. But if you also want to, you can also do the quotation like I was saying. So all you have to do is click here instead. We can see this is a quotation I did earlier. So if we click here, it's converting that one. But if you want to generate a quote from here directly, I mean the functionality is exactly the same. Just need to make sure you click in the right place. We can select our item again. Let's put in our quantity, price, and then record. So you see there's no option to make the payment here. There's no amount tendered. So you can just record it. It's processing. So I'm just going to change the status of my Skype. Let's put it to do not disturb. Let's get back to our POS. Yeah, so now if we want to go and convert that now, all we have to do is press convert quote. And you'll see the one we just created is here now. And then we can convert into an invoice. So I'm just going to make the payment in 4.80. And it's done. It automatically calculates the change as well. And now it's reprinting the receipt. I see there's a question there. Does the credit debit card transaction processing equipment feed payment approval information into the till? Debit card transaction processing equipment feed payment approval information to the till. Could you elaborate on that, Michael? But if you want to turn your microphone on. Or...
Yes. Often where you go to retail outlets, you go to purchase something,
yeah.
The till feeds the little handheld debit credit card device. The amount gets populated onto the little screen. You put your card or you tap your card,
yes,
and it says approval, remove card. Does all of that happen automatically, or are we forced to print out a little receipt from the little credit card, debit card machine, and then enter it into the transaction, the payment reference of the, let's say, the cash till?
So like a double entry almost.
More a question of does this interface with credit debit card online or debit credit card payment processing equipment? So that the two talk to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's not. It wouldn't be a Palladium software at all. But we have clients who use the POS, and they have their own third-party systems that integrates with Palladium fully.
Okay.
So if
that's just more a question.
Yeah. So if there's change due from the transaction, it automatically applies that change or whatever it is on the other side.
Yeah, it was more a question of, let's say you purchase something and the clerk says, will that be cash, debit, credit, or check? And if you say credit, you have to put your machine, or they have to authorize and the payment of sorts. And does that have to be a two-step process where the point of sale clerk puts the card into a third-party machine, gets that info, and then transfers the payment back?
No, so it'll be fully integrated, so they'll talk to one another. So the process.
Okay, perfect.
So the processes I'm doing now is on the merit that I don't have another system integrated with Palladium. So it's more of a manual job from my side.
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, there's one client of ours that is using this system here. I haven't seen it in practical use, but I know that's what they use, and they both speak to each other in full, and they seem to be having a lot of success with it.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you. That's it.
Thanks again, Michael. Appreciate it. So if you do want to have one which is maybe recommended, I know our clients have a lot of success with this one at the moment, which is they're fully integrated with Palladium. Back into Palladium. Just trying to see if there's anything else we really need to look at on the screen. There's not an awful lot to it. So we can finish the session for the day. So if I can come click here, and then at this stage you want to see if there's any variance in your account, so we can close the drawer. So we just come here and close the cash out first. Cashing out a drawer that is still in use will result in the session being closed. Would you like to continue? Yes, we would. And then we can close the drawer, and then on this screen we can see a drawer closed worksheet. So we can see what's sitting in the drawer. This is what theoretically should be sitting in the drawer, and this is what's actually sitting in the drawer. And these are variants. And you can put in notes here. But there's also a report for this as well. If we come point of sales reports, and so there's one here with variances. So that one didn't have a variance, but we can run this one here. And what was our session date? It would be this one here. And this gives us all the information at the end of the day once we've closed the drawer. So we have all our invoice numbers that will show here. So we just did the one then. So it has a breakdown of what was in cash, check, etc. So it just shows those two tender types because they're the only ones we utilized. So it would also have EFT, etc. if we use those. So it's got our two invoices rather. And our overshort reason notes, so that area where I just show you can apply the reason, the notes, this is where it would populate. And we've got some general information down here, total sales, actual sales, total per tender type, etc., etc. We also have the functionality to perform a drop. So we shouldn't have closed the drawer, so the drawer needs to be open for that. So if I just go and assign the drawer again, let's assign it to myself, and we put in 400. Just opening the account. I'm just going to quickly do another invoice. Eight. And 912. Yeah, let's finish the session. And so it shows us what's sitting there at the moment and how much we can drop from there. So we can drop that much, and then next time we go in there, we'll remove that value. We have the opening, the rest of the balance there. I mean, you know, I can show you how the void sale works. I mean, most of it's self-explanatory, but just show you practically. Got items, do our price, 21, and quantity. So all it is, as soon as we click that, we're just completely voiding the transaction. And then it's allowing us to start onto the next customer. Would you like to print an end day report? Yes. So I can't show you what's printing out, obviously. In terms of POS, is there any questions on there? I mean, it's quite a simplistic module. Can a sale be parked mid-transaction? So do you mean like, so you save it and then carry on with the next customer and then maybe come back to that one? Yes, no, unfortunately not. It's just the one customer at a time. So you either proceed with it or you make it void. So just to show you what else I might have missed on that screen. So look, just allocating the drawer again. So you can also have a stock, you can go to inventory queries on this screen. We can have a look at our items, see what quantities we've got. We can see our selling price. So it's at 0 at the moment because I haven't allocated the cash customer to a price list. You can just have a quick look at what's available, what's on hand, etc., etc. So it's pretty handy if we had more than one location here. So I mean, quite often you go somewhere and say, no, sorry, out of stock in this warehouse, but maybe in Bryanston they've got 2 available there. So you can direct the customer to another store. So I think that's pretty much it with the POS. There's not too much there in reporting as well. So we show the drawer closing one. This one has a variance, and this one's just a simple list of the drawers. So if everyone's happy or has any, let's have a look. Does the POS accept multi-currency? Yes, it does, yeah. So it depends on how the customer's set up though. So you just have to make sure the customer's set up correctly in the master file first. So in my case, I was using a cash customer, which is linked to RANs. Would you, is that, yeah, you'd have to set up different cash customers with different multi-currencies. because you can only allocate one currency per customer. Let me just give it a test whilst we're at it as well. Let's have a look. So you want it cash. It would be quite cool to see a picture of the item at time of sale. Maybe this would be an enhancement. I do agree with you. I think a picture is quite handy in several areas, really. I've got to grab a pen. Just ask my colleague who's got a pen just so I can note these things down. Thank you. No, I do agree with you. It would be helpful. Especially on, maybe they could just add it to where the stock check is. You can have a look there and make sure it's right. I just want to test that thing, your question there, Dennis, actually. So it has to be cash. So I think I would handle that. Let's have a go. Cash. Okay, Raymond said that the sound went off. Is anyone else having a problem with the sound? Can you still not hear me, Raymond? If not, please log out and back into the webinar. Okay, thanks, Dennis. Let's have a look. So what you could do, if I'm not mistaken, so you could have another customer set up as a, which is my cash customer, so look, cash. So I'm currently set up this one, which is a RAND account. So I'm just thinking now, so you'd have to set up another customer. So I'm testing this as we go along. And let's make it pounds. I didn't want to go in there. Let's go cash.
Pull a pound customer.
Huh?
Pull a pound.
Yeah, but it goes automatically through the receipts there. On account, because we don't want it to go on account, I want it to go straight to cash. Can I test that and maybe come back to you guys, and maybe I'll send an email, explain what I found with that one. I don't want to take up too much time trying to determine that. So I mean, you can do multi-currency on the POS if you're doing your transactions on account to those other currencies, but I just want to see how you can do that with the cash side of things. It was Dennis with that question here, was it? Yes. So any questions that I have outstanding, I'll just send an email to everyone who attended the training. Yeah, me neither, so it's a new one for me as well. It's not something I've considered before, so I'll have to have a look. Yeah, so Paul, who's sitting with me, is from Zimbabwe, and they have 4 different caches they use in POS, currencies, yeah, in terms of POS. Yeah, yeah, Dennis, that's exactly what Paul was saying. So I'll be quite interested to see how Palladium can handle that, but I'll have to double check it. If there's no other questions with the POS, I think I'll move on to the project side of things, if everyone's happy with that. Okay, so projects sits under here, underneath the business section. So let's just go into the control panel and see what settings we have here. There's not much to it here. So the only setting that we have available for projects is this one. And all this is really is it will come up with a prompt at time of doing any of these documents. So let's do an example. So we want a prompt, so let's say we allocate every purchase invoice to a project. So we'd tick here and we'll click OK. So then we go do a purchase invoice. sure I didn't click on it. There we go. We select our customer. I might need to log out for this to take effect, but let's just give it a go. 23, and the invoice number. You see, now it's come up automatically with this prompt. So it just helps users not to forget to allocate it to a project. I mean, if you're doing a purchase invoice where it shouldn't be applied to a project, all you have to do is press X. And then it will allow you to process anyway. But I mean, if the majority of your transactions need to be allocated, then you might as well turn on this prompt. So we can either allocate the project, we can allocate the transaction entirely to a project by using this top one. But if you want to do it per line, then we'd use down here. So perhaps my purchase invoice isn't a good example because I've only got the one line. But if we had the second line here, we could allocate top line to project A and the second one to project B, wherever it may be. I've only got the one set up at the moment. But if you don't have it set up as a prompt, you can just come and click up here. It brings up the same screen. And this is available on sales orders, sales quotes, purchase orders, purchase quotes, etc. On version 10, it's actually been enhanced to inventory adjustments. It wasn't available previously. We have it here. So let's go into the projects. So let's open one up. This is the one I just created very quickly before. And here we go. So we can set up our project. So let's say project 001, project, let's say KZN project. And you can link it to a customer, again a profit center. And I know we've made they've got a new feature called Enhanced Projects. I was hoping to do the training on that version today, but it's still in testing. I was testing it later last week and there's a few issues there, so I didn't want to encounter those issues in training. So probably when it's released, we'll do another training session based on all the advancements. There's quite numerous new tabs on there. But at a fundamental level, it's pretty much the same, but like the other one, you can allocate to a salesperson as well. So other things here we have like project status. So here we have the overall status of the project. So we can say active, delayed, inactive, closed, not completed, etc., etc. Vincent, what does the required under the normal date mean in invoices? So generally clients who, if you do a purchase invoice, for example, or a purchase order, you're ordering stock from your vendor, so the top date is the date of the transaction itself, and usually the required date, clients will use that as a reference of the date they need to get that stock in, the date it needs to be delivered to them. That's usually what they'll use it for. That's the required date they need to physically get that stock. But it can be used for whatever you want it to be for, but that's the main reason clients use it. And the same on the sales invoicing side. So the required date will be the time they expect your stock to be delivered to them. But you can always use another use for it if that doesn't apply to your industry or business. So we have our project status here. You can put in when the bid was accepted, bid submitted rather. So this is just for reporting purposes, just to see what stage your bids are at, etc., etc. And as you go along, you can just put in the new dates, and you can run reports based on this really, just to see where things are at, just to see the progress on a project. It's all for reporting. None of these have any bearing on anything apart from the reports really. Like you have project types up here, so is the type based purely on your time and materials? Is that purely what you're going to be billing on? Progress payments, when the job's 20% done, they are expected to pay 50,000 or whatever it may be. We have space here for a deposit value. Again, by putting the deposit, it's not processing, and it's not processing any journal entries in the background or anything like that. Just purely reporting. Again, you can state when this was received. You can apply a retainage, either an actual amount or a percentage amount. Again, you can put in estimated receipt, actual receipt. All this information can be adjusted. We have our budgeting. So if we come here, we want to budget the project. You can select your items and how much you expect, maybe need engineer consulting. And so this is what your theoretical costs really, how much you anticipate you'll need. So this might be like bricks if we're building a building. Hi Dennis. Yes, so the product type, they don't have any bearing anywhere. So time and materials, I know that'll be if you're just charging for the actual time and materials used on a project to determine your final cost. The progress payment is, so if payments are due depending on the progress you're at. So you might anticipate it'll take 2 months to get 20% of the job done, but the payments will only be based on when you hit that 20%. Maybe it takes 4 months to get to that stage. So you won't receive your payments until you've got to 30% of the job being done or whatever it may be. The draw schedule, to be honest, I haven't seen a client use the draw schedule. I did speak to one of my colleagues actually before, and they didn't know what the difference was between the two. I think we did a custom development for a client on that one. That's usually the reason. Only one out of our 1,000 clients use it. I might have to find out exactly what the difference is.
Cash flow.
So Paul certainly says it's to do with cash flow.
Yeah. Let me give you your client.
Can I put you on?
Yeah. I give you clients.
So Paul's just going to explain it maybe better than I can.
The draw schedulers for the project, for the client who's paying, you give him a draw schedule to him, so he knows how to budget his cash.
I see.
Whether the project proceeds in that vein, he's got an idea now of how you want your cash.
I see, okay.
And how he's going to provide for him his cash to release it.
Okay, perfect. And then the budget internal will be a bit slightly different then, rather than more of an internal side of things. Yeah. Hi Michael, yeah, you were saying? Progress payment schedule. Are you saying that's what the draw schedule is, Michael?
Yeah.
No. Okay, perfect. But again, these are just for reporting purposes. Just back to the budgeting. So we envisage that we're going to use 800 of these, and the unit cost is not pulling through because I don't have any history on my data, so it'd pull through the unit cost. And so this is our cost of that 800, and this is our anticipated revenue, let's say. And then there's reports we can pull. So actually, after when the project's complete, based on the purchase invoices, sales invoices, etc., that we've allocated to this project, we can see if the theoretical cost that we're putting in here outweighs the actual costs, to see if we went over budget or under budget, etc. So at the moment, it's quite a broad thing, so you can't plan it per stage. So my enhanced projects, which is coming out, the one I was saying I wanted to do the training on, you can split it per stage. So you can set 20 stages on a project, and you can budget each stage if you want to. At the moment, it's all as like an overall budget plan. So that is more specific on the new version. I mean, if you're interested, I could quickly install the testing version at the end to show you all the changes there. I just can't guarantee that it's all functional at the moment. So if you're interested, I'm quite happy to install that once we get through it. Yeah, so we can run a report on this afterwards. Payment schedule. So you can literally just put in, let's see, 20th March 2017. This is the amount on what's due. And percentage, estimated receipt, actual receipt, etc. So we can say that's the estimated receipt, and we still haven't actually received it yet, even though it's, what, the 5th of May already. And you can put your completion parameters. So what you've agreed upon when this payment will be made. Again, it's all for reporting. Everything up here is for reporting. We have our contacts. So it's similar to when we did set up customers and you create vendors. You might have multiple contact persons, so you can just set them all up in here. So you can have multiple people in here with their own numbers, etc. So you can just come back here if you need to get hold of someone. Problem log. So this is if you've had issues perhaps on your project, you can just put it in here. So let's say a wall collapsed or something. Collapsed. Reported by, let's say, Dennis. I just want to populate some of this information so we can see the reporting afterwards. Problem description, wall collapsed. Resolution, put up the next day. Next day. Okay. In project log, so it's the very same setup, so maybe you just want to record your progress. So you can just put it here. So this is based on problems and this is whatever you want it to be really, but it might be progress you're making and you can assign dates again. Files, so like with all the other master files that we have on Palladium, you can attach...
Project log, can you do it day by day?
The project log, so Paul certainly was asking if you can do it day by day. I mean, you can do it as often as you wish, yeah. There's no rigidity at all. You can do it 100 times a day if you wanted to. To make sure, yeah, so it doesn't default 30 days later or anything like that. Just. And then, yes, we can upload any files that you may have. I mean, if you're doing a project, you might want to, maybe there's some contractual agreements, maybe like your draw schedule that we were talking about earlier, you might want to attach it in here. Optional fields. So again, I mean, this is an older master file, so if you've been to most of the training, you'll probably know what these can be used for. So like accounts receivable, we had it. And again, what they're very handy for is if you want us to make some custom reports for you, we can use these as the flag. So basically what they are is if there's information that you don't seem fits any of these provided fields already, you can just change the name of one of these. So whatever that may be, something to do with this project that you want it to be, maybe the area. I mean, if you do projects all around the world, you might want to put the country in here. Might change field 1 to country. Notes is basically a blank canvas, you can type anything in here. And I'm not sure what the character limit is, but you can populate the whole field, and there's even a drill down, so you can scroll down as well. So that's how you set up a project. And just to show you, just to re-go over the allocation, so you can go to a sales quote. We can select our customer. Items. I'll just show you what I mean with the allocation. So now I can go allocate to a project. So you see here we have the option of doing it per document or per line. So you might want to allocate this item to that project and this one to this one. And then you hit record. So also with the enhancement you can add, so like I was saying, they've included stages now per project. So you can allocate these items per stage rather than just to the project as a whole. So that same functionality carries across to all of these things. So you'll see it at sales orders. You can see project here. So it only becomes luminous once we've recorded the document. Michael, can the optional fields be included in the standard Excel export routine? Are you talking about like the inbuilt reports, or? Yeah, I imagine so. No, okay. in the standard Excel export routine, you're talking about the business intelligence, the import export. Okay. Like these things we can import into Palladium? Yes. I'm not actually sure if there's one for projects actually. This is always the best place to check. I don't think there is one. It doesn't appear to be an import functionality for projects. So I think no would be the answer to your question. I'll just have to see if maybe that's included. How about an export? Again, I don't see it. It's not something that I've had to use, which usually means it's not there. And the business intelligence as well, there isn't one for projects, if I'm not mistaken, here either. This is a good question. I don't see a way of exporting, like even a list of your projects. I mean, we can always do a custom report in Excel and have it linked to the live database and populate it with whatever fields you require. Because I know there's one business partner, I think a couple of weeks ago, wanted a list of his projects, and I was also surprised to see there wasn't a report for it. So I just quickly did a view with him. It probably took 5 minutes in SQL, and he had a list of all his projects by name and whatever it may be. So it's a very simple one if you need something as simplistic as that. I'm just going to make a note of it anyway, see if there's any, see if maybe that's been included in the enhancement of the projects feature. So I'll just make a note of it anyway. Just note it down. Yeah, so like I was saying, it's been, so previously before version 10 you couldn't allocate inventory adjustment to a project. So you can see that's been added in here. Yeah, so it's everywhere really. So the reason I'm going to allocate a couple of things, because I know some of these is where the reports pull information from. So I just want to have some information there. So I'm just going to capture a PO. And let's just allocate it to the one we set up now. So these are our project reports. So we have our total tenders. So this pulls all the information from our quotations. That's where the tenders are coming from. So I just created one now, this PO 06, and we can see the items on there. There's a sales order rather, a sales quote. So here's the quotation I did where I allocated the two lines separately. So you can see the one line went to this project and the other one to here. Allocations, so this just going to show us all the documents where we've allocated them to a project. Let's take the clock back a bit further. I'm not sure how much information we've got there. So it just shows which documents. It's like the sales person's report. So it shows us all the documents that have been linked to a salesperson. It works in the same way really. So it shows you which documents, which items and the quantity. Just at a brief look really. Missing allocations. So in the case that every document should be allocated to a project, if you want to make sure that no errors have been made where it hasn't been allocated to a project, you can run this report here. So none of these have been allocated. For instance, the POS cash sales here you can see. So we could go back to the purchase invoices that are on that report and go and allocate a project now. It's never too late. Just going to glance over these. So we've got a cost matrix. So this one will show us, let's have a look, what's the dates, all projects. So this will show us our budgeted against our actual in the end. Actually, that's the next report I'm thinking of, isn't it? Budget cost, budget actual is the one I was thinking of. So what's the name of this one? This one is the project cost. So this is just showing us our cost, everything. The one I was thinking of was this actual versus budget. Just move this chat out of the way. Let me just close it quickly. Yeah, so here we can see our actual, our budgeted amount, which is like the theoretical, like the theoretical we had in the manufacturing. So this is what we anticipated to use. This is our actual. And this is the variance in terms of value and quantity, etc. Same again with the revenue side of things and profits, etc., etc. And just to reiterate, all these reports can be exported into Excel, Word, and emailed straight in the same formats also. The project claim statements. So this pulls through the purchase order, sales orders. I don't think I'd allocated a sales order to one, so it'll just pull through the sales orders. So I can't select all customers. I don't have any customers. So it's just be grey. What else we're missing here? Yeah, there's a reason we've squeezed 3 features together, all relevantly quite small in their own way. I mean, is there any questions in terms of the projects before we move on to the SMSs? After we do the SMSs, though, if you're interested, I'll install the advanced projects very quickly, the beta version, just to show you what's new on there. I'll go through the SMSs first, just in case people don't want to stick around for that. Any questions? I'm just going to download the new beta version so long. Whilst we do the SMSs. Could be a link if you don't mind. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the SMSs now. Just let that start downloading. Perfect. Okay, so the SMSs are in this section here. So to set them up, firstly, the pricing, I believe it's you get 1,000 credits for 300 Rand. Each credit is 1 SMS basically. So, and we get them through a third-party company called Infobib. If you're in, I know the rates for the South Africa, I think we got it down, it used to be 30 cents per SMS, but I think it's down to 27.5 at the moment is the cost per SMS that you're looking at. And once you sign up for that, we'll give you with a login and a password for that to set up on Palladium. So if you got those details, you just come to company options, like everything else, and then you go to SMS, and you just populate the information here. So I've put in our information. This is our internal ones that I've put in here. And that's where it sets up. So down here at the bottom we can see credits. You can check now. So you can see our account's in arrears at the moment, so we have -3376, but I think because of agreement we have, I can still send out SMSs. So this is a very simplistic module really, so we have, this is where all the messages are, so that's probably the best place to start last really. So if I come here, marketing, we have all the information here, so we can filter all the customers based on who purchased between certain dates, who hasn't purchased within certain dates, You can even search for customers with the optional fields. So if you're utilizing the customer optional fields, you can filter by those as well. And we can filter with all customers with cell phone numbers. So if I click here, it'll bring all the customers with cell phone numbers. So this is the only one I have set up. This is one I was set up when I was preparing. It's got my mobile phone on there. So as soon as I click send, please enter a message. Hello, Adam. Message sent successfully. So I just got a message through to my phone. I don't know if it's worth me sending that to myself quickly so you can all see that it just came through. I mean, it came through in a matter of seconds then. I'm just going to email it, the screenshot to myself. Just bear with me. So that this, even if you don't use the SMS functionality, you might do so in other areas. I don't know if you remember in accounts payable, I don't think it was me who did the training, but we had the purchase order approvals. I'm not sure if that was covered. So you can set up approvers in your business. So if someone, if one of your users does a purchase quotation and it has to go through approver first, you'll select the approver of the purchase quote, and then the approver will get an SMS saying someone's waiting for it to be approved into a purchase order. I'm not sure if that was covered. That's also relevant to the SMS function. Just trying to find, where I should, sorry, bear with me. Where's it gone? Okay, so I just sent it to myself here. I think I actually sent one to myself before, so you can just see what the messages come through as. I've got one down here. Yeah, so this is one I got through before. So you can send it to people whose accounts are in arrears. So this is the message I got sent to myself, and the one I sent through now should come through any second in my email. Yeah, we'll see it come through. So I've got it on my phone, I just emailed an image myself. So this is what it'll look like. And you can customize it as much as you want. So that's what you can do for marketing. So you can customize this message, you can send it to everyone, but they have to have a mobile number populated in the customer master file. So when I say that, if I just go into a customer, I'm talking about this area here. So this must be populated. So the customer that came through before was the one I put my number in there. Which one was it? I thought it was the... Yeah, so this is the one I populated my number in. So if you're looking for a quick way, if you've got 1,000 customers on your system and you haven't populated that field, if you want a quick way of doing it, I always advise going to Control Panel and just export all your customers into Excel and then populate the one field with the cell phone number, and then you can import it back in. It's just the quickest way of doing it. Yeah, so you can also use it for debt collection. So I sent this one to myself earlier whilst I was just preparing, so you can see the 47994, and that's the one in my email, 47994. Just want that image to come through, it doesn't want to come through. And that was based on this, but you can customize the message as much as you may wish. And this is also looking at, you can put, can we attach documents to these SMSs? I don't think so, eh, Michael? I don't see that functionality anywhere. Well, out of interest, what type of documentation are you looking at?
Statement.
The statement.
Invoice. Copy of an invoice.
Paul was just saying like a copy of an invoice, etc. I mean, you can email them in bulk outstanding invoices, but you can't. Yeah, you can't attach documents to SMSs. Yeah. I think it's as it is in real terms, really. Depends on, I mean, if you send a message over 200 characters, it only breaks it down into 2 SMSs. So I think it depends on your provider, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess in our case it would be infobib. So I'll have to check that. I'm not 100% sure. It's probably within how it is normally. I'm just gonna make a note of that as well. I think infobib might be our provider just for South Africa as well. I'll just have to double check that. Just making a note of it, sorry. Character limit for SMS.
It's one I got up there.
From us. Is it?
Yeah, from the supplier. Seems like they've got it on their system.
Yeah. Okay, so I just made a note of that. Yeah, and then you have the option of send it in bulk. So once you select here, like if I tick all these options, press send, so it gives me the message that certain people are missing numbers. So if I just untick, because I know these ones don't have their mobile numbers, then click send. And then they all come through here and you can press send and receive. So clients can actually reply to the messages as well, and you'll see them here. In this, you can filter it by the replies. You can see all the messages sent, received, so you can show all the replies even. View SMS reply, so I've got no replies. Maybe I'll reply to the message I sent myself. Let's have a look. Yeah, I don't know if there's any questions in regard to SMSs. Michael, I'll have to come back to you on those couple you had in terms of images being attached and also the character limit. So I don't know if the approvers was covered on the accounts payable, just because it's also relevant to the SMSs really. So enable purchase order approvals, we come here, and accounts payable. So these 2 icons have now appeared: approved purchase orders, purchase order approval setup. So available approvers, I'll put myself. So this means I can approve all orders up to 2,000 rand. And you can set up the notification method for SMS and email. So you can only use this if you purchase credits, if you want to use the SMS functionality side of things. And again, you can customize the message. So this is customizing the email message, use the SMS one. So it'll tell you which user's waiting for you to approve, etc. in the document value. Any further questions on the SMS functionality? Or? So I mean that pretty much concludes the training in terms of going over the 3 modules. I mean, for those who are interested, I can install the beta version of the advanced projects just to show the enhancements there. So for those who are interested, you're more than welcome to stick around, but if you're happy with everything that's been covered, you're more than welcome to leave at this point as well. I'm going to keep the recording going just to show you the enhancements. Okay, so I'm just going to uninstall my version quickly and install the new beta version. Are you interested in seeing the advanced projects? Yeah. Okay, Paul is. So let's do that quickly. It only takes a couple of minutes. Thanks, Dennis. Let's do it. Great. So I just have to uninstall the version I had installed already. Sorry, a couple more minutes, guys. So I just want to forewarn you, we haven't had any internal training on the advanced projects, we've just been testing it. So it's still quite new to myself also, but we'll go through it nonetheless. So you can still has the old logo on here, but once it is incorporated, yeah, please don't, Michael. No, you might be able to enlighten us on what some of the aspects mean. I'm only jesting. I do encourage you questions. So I'm just reinstalling my sample company. Okay. So you can see it's a beta version here, Advanced Projects Beta. So let's go have a look. So it's in the same area. You'll just see some new additions. So mainly on this first stage, so you can, at a glance, you can see there's some additional fields up here. So that's how it works. So the only new thing I can see on this screen is that you can now allocate it to a salesperson. So the new thing I was talking about earlier is now you can set up stages. Parent stage, let's have a look, stage 1. A lot of this is new to me as well, so I'm just going through what I see here. Parent stage, project stage. I'm starting to regret installing this because I can't explain too much of it. I'm not sure where the parent stage and project stage difference would be. If you have any inclinations, feel free. Didn't think you need any encouragement, Michael. Yeah, that means that stage 3 can be parent stage to lower stages, almost like a bomb. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. You can turn your mic on if you want, Mike. Maybe I'll turn mine off.
No. But when you create a parent stage, that may not always be the top level. The parent stage may have other stages within it, and some of those stages may be parent stages to other smaller stages below it.
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying.
No.
I'm assuming, I'm not telling you that's how the functionality works, but just intuitively that's how it appears.
Sure. I'm not in a position to argue otherwise, so we'll take that.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can see the budget project hasn't changed too much, but you can see you can actually do it per phase now. Whereas before it was as a project as an overall. Yeah, trying to see how I get to the second phase there. This is why it's still in testing. Can I change this? Nope. Let's go back here. Stage 1. Yeah, so just a reminder, I mean, you're more than welcome to leave at this point. This is just for those who are interested in seeing the advanced projects. It's a bit out of the scheduled training scope.
Adam?
Yeah, please.
Adam, where you just were, you see, go back to where you just were.
Yeah.
Right there. You see the parent stage?
Yeah.
Project, pull down the parent. No. Yeah, click there.
Yeah.
No, to the right.
Okay, yeah.
Click to the right. Okay, drop that down. You have 2 stages.
Sure.
Project stage 1 might be assigned to stage 2, and project 2 may be assigned to stage 1. Like what I was saying about it's a bill of materials. This tells me it is like a bill of materials where each phase can have sub-phases within it, and everything can roll up into the top level.
No, that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
Because I've assigned the parent stage to both of these project stages, yeah.
Right, but you could have actually assigned a different parent stage to project stage 2,
100%.
as long as those 2 parent stages were brought into a different parent stage, the highest level.
Yeah.
Like a parent doesn't mean it's the top level, it just means it has children within it.
100%, sure. I'm with you.
Okay.
Thanks, Michael. Do appreciate you. Yeah. So I've only got the 1 month here, so we can. So it's asking for us to populate that to 100%. Yeah, so you can budget over several months.
4 months.
Yeah, you can add it. So I chose 4 up here. So you can make it 12. And then if I put 60 here, it should populate. Yeah, so it automatically populates the next field, because I know that wasn't working last week. This is the latest build, what they say. But it just gives you an idea of what's coming, really. Payment schedule looks exactly the same. Contacts, problem log, all the same, all this stuff as far as I can see. Some of the new stuff is up here, resources. Okay, so resources, this is pulling through your fixed assets, which is interesting. So you can assign your fixed assets now on this new enhancement. So it's blank at the moment because I don't have any fixed assets, but I can link it to a project now. So you can assign it to the project and you can state the date that it left the project, etc. So I think that's quite a strong enhancement, really. So most of your construction companies have an awful lot of fixed assets, so they can see where they're actually located. Financial, we have this insurance. You can put in your policy numbers, etc. It's quite interesting. Guarantor name. Other, I'm not sure what the other is all about. I'm not going to play around too much. And then also there's a checklist here.
Just go back to financial.
Paul just wants to go back to financial. Yeah, sure.
You see guarantees and other.
Yeah, other it brings up this field. It looks like almost like optional fields where you can type in whatever information you want.
Yeah, with the guarantees for
They
could be different categories.
Yeah. And then the checklist. I remember I was discussing with the developer how you create something on the checklist. Doesn't look so obvious. Did send me a reply, but I'm not going to go into it now. So you have to select the customer. It looks like there's a few more reports here as well. So you can see the project checklist, the one I saw there, resources, that's a new one. Project financial info is a new one. Yeah, so I think I'll leave it there. I mean, if there's anything else you want me to have, if you want to have a look at something else on the advanced projects that I didn't go over. It's all new to me. So like I said, once it's officially released, and then we'll set up some proper training for the advanced projects. No, I agree, Michael. I think the stages are quite a very strong enhancement. I like the fixed assets as well. From what I could see then, it looks like it's working a lot better than when I last tested it. So the version I was just doing then, right now, it was given to us last night. So I don't see this one being too far away from release. I do like the look of it. I think it will help a lot, help clients out a lot anyway. Yeah, so if we're all happy, I think we'll leave it there. Is there any questions regarding any of the modules we briefly covered today? I know they're all quite small modules. Any questions on those? So I've got some outstanding questions. Michael wanted to know if you could have images, so maybe more of an enhancement on that side. I don't see that being there at the moment. Dennis, I'll come back to you on the multi-currency cash sales projects. It doesn't look like there's an import-export. Perhaps I should mention that to development as well. And the character limit per SMS and whether you can attach images or not. So a couple of those might be suggested enhancements. If you do have any suggestions with enhancements, we always advise that you send an email through to play the wish list. Our MD actually gets these emails, so you're going right to the top of those. So if you can argue the value in your feature request, they'll probably add it on the development queue. But for more bespoke development, that's quite unique to your business and might not offer any value to other clients of ours, then we can give you a quotation and we can do most of the time the development can be done within 6 weeks of 50% payment. So if there's ever one feature that's, if you're a BP, you find costing you a sale, I'd advise putting it through here. Or if you're a client with maybe there's one issue that's very unique to your industry that's affecting your productivity on a day-to-day basis, again, I'd just get in reach with us and maybe we can put a quotation together and see if it's worth your time and take it from there.